Hobbyians and fellow hobbyists, welcome to another episode of Car Dreams in Styrene. I'm your host Gary G in our brand new studio. I'm so excited about all that stuff, but first, these are the topics of today's show.
The riddle. The Viper. Which type of color should I use? Realistic brake discs. Can you guess what that actually is? The answer, the end of the show. So we here in the shop, I bought this nice rebel kit actually because I like the rims, the tires and the seats. So I wanted to make some resin copies for my builds. But since I had it, I might as well build it. I thought since it's named after a snake, I want to do a snakeskin paint job. And to see the nice interior, I want to cut off the roof and maybe do a hood scoop with gauges inside. So I started with a little sketch like always. This actually how I think it should be. So after I painted the engine parts, I was ready to assemble it. Ignition cables or wires are very seldom in those kits, so I built them from scratch. And after I did a black wash, those parts are really popped out. I kept the interior in a leather brown. The assembly of the chassis was real fun because it has a lot of details. It was fantastic. Most of the time I'm not happy with the height of the car, so I'll lower the suspension for a better look. Then I was ready to drill out the gauges and glue in the decals. And after a wash, the dashboard was ready to mount in, but more next week.
So, what I want to talk this week about is which type of color should I use. There are different types out there. There are acrylics, enamel and lacquers, and some can be mixed, others react to each other. Even some types that you usually could mix with each other because that's the same, if they're from different brands, they react. You have like orange peel, all kind of crazy reaction. And well, that's really bad after you put so much effort in your little model. So what can you do? Well, I suggest that you stick to one brand. So if you go to Tamiya or whatever is in your country, the brand that you want to use, pretty much all of that works. But stick to one brand. If you mix them, chances are high that you have a reaction. Well, now and then, some brands, they just don't make no primer, or they make no clear or whatever. Well, if you have that, go and buy you a couple hundred of those spoons. They're plastic. I mean, this happened to be a chrome one, but they have it in white. And you try first on one of those spoons. If you have no reaction on the spoon, well, you're good to go. This is my thoughts for this week. So this week I want to talk about in tips and tricks how you get realistic brake discs. So usually if you have a kit with brake discs, you get that kind of thing. See, that is kind of the brake, I think you call it caliber, and that's the disc. Well, you can paint it, and that looks fairly good. What I do is kind of a cut off that part from the disc itself. That's gonna look like this. Then I split those two parts, or that part, in two. And then I go in my fancy hardware store around the corner and buy me a nice washer. You know, this has like 50 millimeters and I guess 5 millimeters in the middle. You just take it as big as it fits in your scale, and then out of those three things you go and you glue that half and half caliber on your washer, and there you go. You have some nice looking brake discs.
Here the answer to today's riddle.
So, my friends, this was another episode of Car Dreams in Styrene. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as me and my wife did to make it. Don't forget to tune in next Saturday at the same time. And as always, love and friendship is something you can't buy. Respect all people and keep that hobby alive. See you next week. Dreams in Styrene. I'm your host, Gary G. Styrene.